A suspect accused of entering a portable classroom at a Seattle elementary school, trying to steal students' backpacks. There's more to this, but when police showed up, the principal didn't want to cooperate? Well, let's bring in the reporter who broke that story, KTTH Seattle talk radio host Jason Rantz, in person for tonight's lightning round. It's great to see you.
It's so crazy I had to come in studio to talk about it.
I appreciate that, because it does sound crazy that somebody would get into a school, an elementary school, and you're saying that when the cops showed up, the principal did not want to cooperate with the investigation?
Yeah, according to the police incident report, this officer showed up. They were kind of late, but once they got there, the guy was already leaving the campus. The principal and two other teachers were seeing this guy kind of clearly going through something, to the point where the police thought that he was either having some sort of mental health issue or he was maybe under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Now, the officer was asking for some basic information so they can establish that a crime was committed and that they have probable cause to go ahead and make an arrest. However, the principal, according to the cop, just turned around and walked away. Now, as a result of that, the cop, he says in this incident report, couldn't make an arrest. So, allegedly, the suspect ends up trying to steal a DHL delivery van, assaulting the driver. Well, the cop was still over at the school because the guy could just go away at that point. Right. He didn't have the right to go ahead and... Exactly.
But these were elementary kids that we're talking about who are subjected to this whole thing.
It is ludicrous that they don't want to cooperate with the police, because I think this has everything to do with the BLM movement and the activists on the ground who might say, well, you just are now cooperating with the police. We can no longer trust you. It's ridiculous.
Very interesting. Okay, speaking of BLM, you uncovered this other situation where there's sort of a mentorship leadership program for older students, younger students in this high school. And this is what you say in the headline: high school teachers demand students pledge support to BLM and abortion. So if they wanted to take part in this program, there were certain things that they had to sign on to? Yeah,
so there's a code of conduct policy that in order to participate in the LINK program, you would have to sign off and have your parents sign off as well. And most of it was totally normal. I pledge to curtail bullying and show school spirit. Not controversial. And then it says, I believe Black Lives Matter, love is love, what are we talking about?
No human is illegal.
No human is illegal, which is my favorite. Women's rights are human rights. So very clearly political here. And obviously, if we got this exact same code of conduct and it said all lives matter, or life begins at conception, or build the wall, people would be outraged. And yet they're not seeming to understand why this is wrong. Because they live in that echo chamber. They didn't give me an explanation. I asked a lot of questions, and what they basically told me was, we will review this with the school and the advisors. So I do, in this case, I kind of feel bad for the spokesperson for the district, because they have to know that this is crazy.
Right. Okay, we want to get in this last story. This has to do with a school assignment for 6th graders, and it sent them on a poetry scavenger hunt. But where they ended up was a bit of a problem.
Yeah, the teacher ended up giving a link to a poetry site that, if you look not even that hard, you find some very, very graphic material. Oh boy. I cannot even blur out some of the words. I can't censor any of the words and do it on TV. It's that bad. And a student, kudos to the kid, goes up to the mom and says, look at this material, this is wrong. Mom complains, an activist group of parents in the community starts to bring up a stink. And the school says, we didn't do this on purpose. As soon as they found out, they took it down. And I actually believe them, but it does get to the point of, just have conversations with your kids. Make sure you're going over the material that they are learning, because you don't know what's in front of them sometimes.
Exactly. Well, when you're on the case, we know you will get answers. Jason, good to see you in person.
Good to see you.
Okay.